We are now done with learning new things in our functions chapter. So you guys now know how to identify if something is a function or not a function. You also know what domain and range mean, a little bit more about input and output. So today we're going to go over your test review. Let me tell you, if you look over this review before you take your test and you understand what we say as we're doing this, you will do very, very, very well on your test this week. So number 1 says, which graph does not represent y as a function of x? So when I see the phrase not a function, that means this thing cannot be a function. So to be silly, in my very first lesson of this chapter, I said not a function means that they are not faithful. What that means is that for something to not be a function, the x's would repeat. So when looking at a graph, we do something called the vertical line test. So if I drop a vertical line, my blue line touches the red line one time. So we're good. It only touches once. That one is fine. In this one, I drop a vertical line. No matter where I put that vertical line, the red line would only touch the blue line one time. So we're good. That is a function. In the next one, if I dropped my vertical line, it touches here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. So this has several x values on that one line. So this one for sure is not a function. And then finally, if I dropped a straight line, red line touches blue line one time. So we're good. So no matter where you drop that vertical line, if it touches once, then it is a function. Easy. Number 2, what is the range of the function shown below? So what we see is every single time you see the word range, I want you to write the letter y. So if range is y, and this mapping diagram is y, it means that these numbers, the second bubble of numbers, are the numbers in your range. So to be fancy, I'm going to say that your range is the numbers 4, 16, 25, 36. So easy. Range is y. Y's are the second thing, second bubble in a mapping diagram, second mapping. So those numbers are all your range. Very easy. Next. This looks difficult, but it is not hard. You just have to read it very carefully. It says the function f equals negative 3, 5, negative 2, 0, negative 1, 3, 0, negative 4, 1, negative 3. Can be represented in many ways. Which of the following is a correct way to represent this function f? So the first one says the domain, which are the x's, are the numbers negative 4, negative 3, 0, and 5. If I look at my x values, those come first. These x values are not negative 4, negative 3, 0, and 5. So this is not correct. It's not A. Let's see B. B says that my domain, my x's, are negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, and 1. Let's see, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. So far, this is correct. Then it says the range, my range is my y values. My range, there's a negative 4, yes. There is a negative 4 in the range. Negative 3, yes. 0, yes. 5, yes, absolutely. All of those numbers are in the y values. So this has to be the correct answer. If we graphed all of these ordered pairs on my graph, left 3, up 5, left 2, 0, left 1, down 3, 0, negative 4, 1, negative 3. And then this one here is obviously not correct. Okay, so we were looking to see which one is correct. My domain is definitely negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. My range is a negative 4, negative 3, 0, and 5. That's it. Number 3, very easy. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the back. So this is the one that everyone looks at and they say, oh, this is so terrible. But it's really not that difficult. It says a set of weights include a 4-pound barbell and 6 pairs of weight plates. Each pair of plates weighs 20 pounds. If X pairs of plates, so if we're talking about weights, these guys here are my plates. So X is the plates are added to that barbell. The total weight of the barbell and the plates in pounds can be represented by this. So that means that the Y is my total weight. Okay? So it says, what is the range of this function? What are the Y values of this function? So in this situation, I have an equation, and I'm going to plug in some X values. It says that if X is the plates, it means I'm going to make these my plates. I'm going to actually turn this into a table. So we start with 1 plate, 2 plates, 3 plates, 4 plates, 5 plates, 6 plates. Actually, they start with 0. So we have 0 first. Okay, which makes sense. You can have 0 plates on your barbell. So 0 plates, 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plate, 5 plate, 6 plates. So I'm going to take this number and I'm going to plug it in for X. 20 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. 20 times 1 is 20, plus 4 is 24. 20 times 2 is 40, plus 4 is 44. 3 times 20 is 60, plus 4 is 64. So soon you're going to start seeing all of my answers. 20 times 4 is 80, plus 4 is 84. 20 times 5 is 100, plus 4 is 104. 20 times 6 is 120, plus 4 is 124. Okay, so I took my X's, which were the plates. Here it says X's are the plates. So I took these numbers from 0 plates to 6 plates, and I put it in the table. The question is, what is the range? What are my Y values? So the correct answer is B. So I took my equation, I turned it into a table, and I figured out my domain, which were these numbers, and my range, which are these. Next. Easy. Which table shows Y as a function of X? What you need to do is every single time you see the word function, what that means is that we are checking our X's. So I'm going to circle these X's. So letter A, in this one here, those X's repeat. That's not good. Letter B, those X's repeat. That's not good. Letter C, that's different from that, which is different, which is different. So this one looks good. Letter D, those letters repeat, those numbers repeat, not good. So only one of these is a function. The X's did not repeat. Very easy. Next. The graph of the function is shown below, which best describes the range of the function represented in the graph. What we know is that range is Y, so you put a Y there. If range is Y, then it can't be A, and it can't be C. So what we talked about a lot this week is that if we have something called a continuous graph, meaning it continues from one ordered pair to the other, we have to write the domain and range using this notation, set builder notation. So in this notation, it has to look like this if we had a line between our two endpoints, which means that D does not look like that. So to double check our answer, range is Y. Range is like Drake. Drake starts at the bottom, and now we're here. So my lowest Y value right here is the number -2. My highest y value is up here. That's the number 7. Open circle, close circle. Easy. Very, very easy. Number 7, very common. It says, given this equation, what is the value of f of negative 5? And what is the value of f of 5? So last class we talked a lot about this. It's very easy. If we have a number in parentheses, we just need to take it and plug it in for our x value. So I'm going to write this function as a 7, open parentheses 3, minus, be careful, I need to plug in that negative 5. Because this 5 had a negative, I used parentheses, so that way it doesn't confuse me. So the x was negative 5, and the equation was 3 minus, so that's why this negative 5 is here. So now whenever I have a minus negative, that's the same as a positive. 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 times 7 is 56. So my first answer is 56. Same thing. This time it says, solve when x is 5. All right, so I have a 7. Open parentheses 3 minus. Instead of x, x is the number 5. I didn't have to put extra parentheses because it was a positive 5. So 7, open parentheses, 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 7 is a negative 14. Easy. Next. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, number 8. Write function or not a function for each relation below. Very easy. I'm not going to do this one for you. You are fully capable. To check our functions, that means we're checking our x's. Check the x's. Okay? If the x's repeat, if that girl comes back, it is not a function. If all those x's are different, then we're good. It's faithful. It is a function. 8, super easy. Number 9, also easy. Not doing this one for you, but it's super, super easy. Number 9, domain is x. That means take all of your x values and list them. So my domain is all of those x values. It's useful to list them from smallest to biggest, but as long as you can identify that all of these x's would be in my domain, and that's all you have to do. Range is y. So my range is all of these numbers. Easy. List your domain. Those are your x's. List your range. Those are your y's. Next. So you just did this last class as well, and you were very good at it. It says, what is the range of the function f of x equals negative 2x minus 4 if the domain, the x's, are negative 3, negative 2, and negative 1? So I take my equation, here it is, and instead of x, I'm going to replace it with my x's. It says my domain is those numbers. So I start by writing my function, negative 2. Instead of x, I'm going to replace it with my first x value. Negative 2. Instead of x, I'm going to replace it with my second x value. And finally, negative 2. X, I'm replacing it with my third x value. Simplify those. Negative 2 times negative 3 is a positive 6. 6 minus 4 is positive 2. Once you get these 3 answers, look carefully to see which answer choice has those 3 answers. They put it in order from least to greatest. So you're just matching which 3 here are also in your answers. So these 3 will be in one of your answer choices. Very easy. If you have paid attention this chapter, it is going to be the easiest test we've ever done. Number 11, create a graph for the following mapping. Is the relation a function? So in this one, when we have a mapping, let's write these as ordered pairs. It makes it a little bit easier. So the first one says when x is -3, it's pointing at the y is 0. The next one, when x is -1, it's pointing at the y 4. Next, when x is 2, its y is 7. Finally, when this x is 4, it's pointing to the y, which is also at 4. So I'm going to take each of these ordered pairs, starting with left 3 and then 0. Then left 1, up 4. So graph each of those ordered pairs, and then tell me if it is a function or not a function. Last page. All right, number 12. If we have a number in parentheses, that means it is the x. We've done that 1,000 times. You're very good at that. So if this is my equation, I'm going to start with the number 4. Instead of x, I'm going to replace x with that -3. And then it says plus 8. Solve it. 4 times -3, -12. -12 plus 8. Whatever that number is your answer. So easy. 13. 4 sets of ordered pairs are shown below. Which of the following ordered pairs describe a function? Ooh, function. That means I'm checking my x's. So in this first one, I check these x's. If they are faithful, meaning they did not repeat, then we're good. It's a function. If they are not faithful, meaning something in the x's did repeat, that is not a function. So I'm going to tell you right now, number 2, these x's, her name is 0. She's seeing a 1, so 0, the x, is going to a 1. That 0 is going to a 2. That 0 is going to a 3. And that 0 is going to 4. That is absolutely 100% not a function. So for sure we know that 2 is not going to be in the answer. Okay, so check to see. Function means the x's are good. They did not come back. Not a function means that the x's repeated. Not good. X's can't repeat for it to be a function. Last but not least, easy. So which of the following range is -1 to +4? So we said range is y, which means my lowest number is going to be a -1, and my highest number is going to be a 4. So if we look at these graphs, in example A, what? Lowest number, sure, that's a -1, but the highest number certainly is not 4. It would have to look like this to fit between those two borders. So for sure, not A. Okay, next one. Lowest number, yeah, that's -1 so far. That's great. But the top, that's an arrow. That arrow means it's going to go up forever, meaning that it's not going to stop at 4. So no, that does not have that range. Letter B. Oops. So the bottom here, -1. The highest one, even though it's an arrow, it is going to keep going just to the right forever. So that one might work. Letter D, -1 to +4. No, that graph does not fit in those boundaries. So only one of those can be the answer. And then double check your domain. Your x's go from -1 and then they go forever to the right. So which answer choice would match that domain? Very easy. So if you guys look over these 14 questions, then when you take your test next class, it is going to be the easiest test you've ever taken. So the big things that you have to be comfortable with to do well, you have to know whether a relation is a function or not a function. As you saw in this review, it happened a lot. Function or not a function, make sure you know it. Next thing you have to know, domain and range. Not hard. Domain is X, range is Y. Not difficult. And then the last thing that's really important on this test is what we did last class, where you are taking a number and plugging it into the equation for X. Very easy. So if you can do those things, you will for sure do very well in this test. So make sure you look over all 14 questions from this review, and then you will do very well tomorrow. Good luck on your test next class.